Welcome to FireTech Talk. Today I'm with Jamie Knowles, Sales Manager of Kitchen and Industrial Systems at Annex, and we're going to be continuing our discussion on fire protection for food trucks and trailers. Jamie, thanks so much for making time for us again.
Yeah, we appreciate the time as well. Annex loves to work with Brooks on things like this. Leadership in our industry matters.
So you mentioned the Annex. Let's talk a little bit about what are some specific things in that Annex of 96 that differentiate, how that food truck needs to be protected versus the commercial kitchen.
Yeah, so the Annex was folded into enforceable language. So it's really the same requirements, but then it's been divided up into different passages, but it's pretty much the same. So one of them is an audible and visual annunciator. So when the system discharges, it needs to have a horn strobe on the outside of that vehicle or alarm bell of some kind, notifying the surrounding area that there's a fire on that machine. So that's a requirement you don't have for a kitchen necessarily. Usually you're connecting to a building fire alarm, and that building fire alarm covers the whole area. So in this case, there's no fire alarm to connect to, but we still have to tell people where the fire is. And when the fire department shows up, they need to know which trailer right now. Okay, if there's 40 or 50 of them, they need to know exactly which one it is. There's a gas detection requirement in NFPA 96 in this Annex and in the new NFPA 96 in the body. It requires a gas detector for hydrocarbons in that in the enclosure of that trailer or truck at all times. And it's because of all the gas leaks we've had, right? And all the incidents that you can find on the internet of what happened with food trucks. They were generally around either a propane generator or the propane supplying the appliances. Usually that's where the problem comes in. So those are two very specific requirements that you don't have to do in other arenas with kitchens. So, and they're all very good. Also, the spacing is there. Nobody's telling you have to park your kitchen 10 feet from something, right? But in this case, they are. They're telling you your food truck cannot be within 10 feet of another food truck, an adjacent building, a generator, a fuel source, that kind of thing. And they're telling you where you can operate, right? So it's just a distinctly different thing that kitchens don't have to deal with.
Yeah, okay. So, pre-engineered systems for decades have been installed on a wall. Now they're being installed on the side of a food truck. Can you talk a little bit about the differences between that and any considerations or concerns that people might have with the fact that a truck's just different than a kitchen?
Yeah, there's a big perception in the industry that our pre-engineered restaurant systems or kitchen systems are all mechanical in nature, right? They're springs and levers and pulleys. And the danger or the perception of danger is that if you're driving down the road and you hit a large bump of some kind, those springs and levers can release and set the system off. So anecdotally, we have a lot of concern about that in the industry, and we get asked about that a lot. But I've not had any situations over my career or any of the other people I network with where we've been told this fire system that was in mechanical in nature went off in a food truck because it hit a bump. I've not had anybody report that, right? I talked to my friends at the other manufacturers. I'm not sure they're hearing it either.
Just to wrap this up, it looks like food trucks are here to stay. It also seems like the codes and standards are evolving to meet this challenge. What do you kind of predict for the next 5 years or so when it comes to fire protection of these mobile cooking operations?
Well, I think you're right. I think they're definitely here to stay. I think they're only going to expand. I think the pandemic has accelerated that process, but I think it's also accelerated the process of AHJs figuring out what to do with these. The biggest problem with food trucks and food trailers is they are mobile. They will be in one state this week and another state this week, and it could be 30 or 40 places in one summer. And it could be 30 or 40 different jurisdictions. So I think what we're really going to see is now that we've got an enforceable standard in NFPA 96, and the states and municipalities and counties are all taking steps to adopt the newer versions of NFPA, we're going to get a nice evolution. They'll start seeing these new passages when they adopt the 2021 version of 96, and they'll start enforcing them. And they'll look at that and they'll go, oh, this isn't the same. This isn't the same as enforcing these rules in a building. So now we have to develop a new program for this. How are we going to go about regulating a food truck manufacturer in our area that's sending these things all over the country? How are we going to regulate a food fair that we have in all the cities these days, right? If you come in and you've got 40 food trucks, are you going to go and check each tag, right? What's a valid tag, right? Do they have to have a license in your city to service that and work on it? Or can a tag from another state work? Right? They're going to evolve, right? And frankly, it's going to become more expensive. right? You're going to have to do some review work, right? Probably to get your system improved in some of these areas. If you want to show, like you may have to send a system drawing to the fire marshal before you pull your truck into that fair, right? Stuff like that's going to start happening. But what I know is fire officials are dedicated, and they will find a way to regulate this industry when it comes into their space, and they're slowly but surely getting better at that all the time.
Okay.
So.
Well, Jamie, this has been a great conversation. We thank you for your time.
You bet. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate any time we can get together and talk about fire equipment. I also appreciate the leadership that you guys are showing in the industry by putting these tech talks together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching this episode of Fire Tech Talk. Please be sure to like and subscribe.